Have you ever thought about making your own podcast? It seems like that's the in thing right now. Well, do I have the people for you? Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. Best of all, it's 100% free and extremely easy to use. And now, Anchor will match with great sponsors who want to advertise on your podcast. That means you can get paid for podcasting right away. To get started, go to anchor.fm/start. Once again, that's anchor.fm/start. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Jay Stevens Podcast. This is episode 10. Yes, we are up to episode 10, 10 weeks in, and in my eyes, it feels like we just got started. Thank you for listening and downloading another episode of the podcast. Remember to always subscribe, rate, and review. It's a great way for people that are searching for a new podcast to listen to come across this one. And then also remember to get the word out about the podcast via word of mouth. When we like something in life, we are more willing and somewhat wired to let other people know about the things that we enjoy. So no matter if this is your first episode or if you've been listening since episode 1, be sure to let people know about the podcast. In life, there are certain events that are memorable. Events that 5, 10, 15, 20 plus years down the road, you remember where you were, who was with you, what was going on in your life, what happened that day leading up to said event. There were different events in life that we remember where we were, and they are memorable moments in our life. Moments such as, Michael Jordan's last shot as a Bull against the Jazz in '98. What about the Cubs winning the World Series a few years ago after ending that long drought that they had? What about, Auburn beating Alabama a few years ago in the Iron Bowl when Auburn ran that missed field goal back 100 plus yards for the winning touchdown? There are moments in our life that are very memorable that we will remember, especially as sports fans. And what about life? Your wedding day. And I hope you remember your wedding day. What about 9/11? Now, it's more of a tragedy or a tragic situation in U.S. history, but a lot of us remember where we were when we heard about the tragedy and the terror attack that happened on 9/11. Today, July 14th, being one of those days. The Wimbledon final took place today, and it's at first glance and first listening to it and first hearing about, you got Djokovic versus Federer, two of the best tennis players in the game now. Some say that they're two of the best of all time. And so it's a great match. You think, I'm going to focus on this. I'm going to watch this. I'm going to try to do my best to follow along and see what goes on with this match. Now, you may not be a tennis fan. I'm not a big tennis fan. But honestly, when matches like this are on, I at least try to catch a few minutes, 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, a few minutes later on. I at least like to watch and see, get glimpses of the match while the match is on. Generally on Sundays, like it was this Sunday, I'm not home during a few in the morning very much. So I was able to watch the beginning of Wimbledon, left home, came back home, changed clothes, went to get my hair cut, watched a little bit more before I left to get my hair cut. And then as I was on my way back home from getting my hair cut, I'm thinking it's after 1 o'clock, after 1:30. This game should be over. The match started a little after 9. It's now after 1:30, 4.5 hours. This match should be over. No. The final set went into a tiebreaker, a 5th set tiebreaker, where Djokovic ended up winning another Wimbledon tournament. Now, you say, what's so crazy about that? That's the first 5th set tiebreaker in Wimbledon history. And every second that I watched this match, I saw the power that was utilized, the crispness of the movements of going side to side, the precision in making sure the ball went where Djokovic or Federer wanted the ball to go. And these were two of the best playing at the top of their game. This match lasted 4 hours and 55 minutes. Let me say that again if you did not hear that. And I'm sure by now you have heard that, but I'm going to say it one more time for you. 4 hours and 55 minutes in a tennis match. And as I was leaving the barbershop today, I was looking at my phone, got on Twitter before I hopped in my car to drive back home, and I saw he was saying, "Oh, get to ESPN. Get to ESPN now. This match is going crazy." Someone said, "Will we see a 12-12 tiebreaker?" I'm thinking, this thing should be over. It started at 9 o'clock in the morning. It's 1:30. Tennis matches don't last this long. A basketball game, good basketball games don't last this long, even if they go into overtime. Football games generally don't last this long, even if they go into overtime. Baseball games generally don't last this long if they go into overtime. Hockey, same way. Soccer's even shorter. Shorter than most of the sports I just mentioned. They don't last this long. So 4 hours and 55 minutes of a match at a high level is unheard of. And there are a lot of tennis fans, those that follow the game and the sport on a regular basis, will say this is going to be one of those memorable moments for me because of how epic the match was between two of the best in the sport. Let's go ahead and take a trip from Oklahoma City down to Houston, because two guys that were former teammates in Oklahoma City are reunited in Houston because one man demanded a trade and he got his wish. Man, oh man, the NBA does it once again. Right when we think the NBA is going to die down, and the NFL, we're going to get some more football news, the NBA rears its ugly head and says, "No, not so fast, my friend. I'm here. I'm still here. My players are petty. My players act like little kids at times. They don't play well with others, right? Oh, Melvin Gordon, you want to get paid? That's okay. The NBA has some more news for you that's going to be bigger than that." And that's exactly what happened. Melvin Gordon came out and said, "I'm possibly going to hold out for training camp until I get a new contract." Okay, once that came out, cool. Melvin Gordon, you want to be like a Todd Gurley, or you want to be like a Le'Veon Bell, where you hold out till you get paid. I get it. I understand it. You're a running back. Your positions being diminished and undervalued in the NFL. You saw Le'Veon Bell not playing. James Conner comes in. It's like, Le'Veon Bell? Yeah, he's a great player. Don't get me wrong. But a lot of times in the NFL, running backs, you're kind of, they don't really care who you are. They just want a body in there, someone that can get the job done. And then if they have to use two guys, so be it. They'll use two, they'll use three to get the job done. That years ago, it was one guy. Because, well, over those three, they're not spending one less money. They're saving their bodies. They're not getting hurt as much. And it's working out better for the teams over the longevity to stay relevant in the league. But Melvin Gordon made that statement. Yeah, he wants to. He's going to be possibly holding out till he gets a new contract. And then shortly after that happened, bam, we got this. We got Chris Paul going to Oklahoma City. Bye-bye. We got Russell Westbrook going to Houston, play with James Harden. Come here. I like it. I like the move. Chris Paul, I like you. I've been a fan since you came into the league. I like your skill set and what you had, past tense, because right now you're a little older. You're not as consistent. You're not understanding that your game's going down. You think you're the player you were 5 years ago, not the player you are in 2019, and I get it. No one wants to face reality and say, "Hey, man, I can't do it no more. I can't be that guy on the team. Yeah, I'm not as quick. My mind's not as sharp as it once was. So, well, I don't want to accept the reality. So I'll just make you try to lower and change your game, so my game can look a whole lot better than it has." No, Chris Paul, you ain't that guy. James Harden knows you're not that guy. The front office or the Rockets knows you're not that guy. So they said bye-bye. They sent you to Oklahoma City, said get out of here. Ain't nothing in Oklahoma. We all know it ain't nothing in Oklahoma. Before Oklahoma City Thunder went there, only thing you talked about was the Oklahoma Sooners and the Oklahoma State Cowboys. That was it. That's all you talked about. And then now the Thunder went there. They did very, very well. Now they ain't got nothing but Chris Paul. Nothing. They got Chris Paul and a bunch of draft picks. A bunch of draft picks. You can keep all them draft picks. Well, because Russ is coming to Houston. Russ and James Harden are reunited once again. Like I said earlier, they're friends since they were 10 years old. I think this is going to work, kind of. I think it would work, and I'll talk about what I think it would work, how it would work later on. But you got Russ, you got James Harden, guys that were former teammates that played together in Oklahoma City before. Russ was drafted by the Thunder in 08. James Harden was drafted by the Thunder in 09. And now they're reunited once again. They were James Harden was traded away when a contract wasn't come to. Russ is traded away now, and now they're in the same place in Houston. And man, what's going to happen here? What are we looking forward to? Well, I think we got a team that's going to be one of the top teams in the West. Once again, not really breaking no news. I said it earlier with Chris Paul, top team, with Russ, who's better than Chris Paul, a top team in the West. A top team in the league. Oh, yes, best believe. I do believe that. I think these are two guys that in their positions, they are two of the top in their positions. Russ, hard to guard. James Harden, nearly impossible to guard. James Harden, who travels, who forces fouls, who initiates contact, who will foul you, then you foul him, and you get the foul called. Kind of like that kid in school who's the pest. It knows how to initiate some stuff instigate. That's what I was looking for. Who knows how to instigate? So he says one thing. He comes down. You react to him, and you get in trouble. That's James Harden. He pushes you. He swipes. You lunge at him. You get the foul call. You look at the ref and say, man, he's holding me. The ref's like, I don't see nothing, man. I don't know what you're talking about, but that's James Harden. Russ, you think about that. You think about that guy that has one motor, and that's go. I mean, all gas, no brake pads, baby. I mean, he just goes and goes and goes and goes. That's Russell Westbrook. You need a bucket. You need someone to get you an assist. I mean, he's basically a walking triple double. The past 3 years, he's averaged that triple double. James Harden, MVP in 2018. Russ, MVP in 17. James Harden, 7-time All-Star. Russ, 8-time All-Star. Both of them are 2-time scoring champs. Harden's led the league in assists once. Russ led the league in assists twice. So on paper, their statistics. I'm not even gonna go to points, rebounds, assists, field goal percentage, 3-point percentage, free throw percentage. I'm not even going into that to look at those numbers. What I've just listed to you in accolades, these two guys should work well together. They should work very well together. Two guys that have been on the Olympic team before. Two guys that, you think about Russ, top point guard, think about James Harden, literally one of the best players in the league right now. They should work very well together. Why? Because stars like to play with other stars. The one problem I have is they're both stars that have been in the league for a long time and have made their name by holding on to the ball. That's the main thing that Chris Paul didn't like about James Harden. He didn't play well with others. He wanted to pound, dribble. If he got a shot, great. If he didn't, he would kick. Hopefully that guy made that open three in the corner. Or dribble, drive. Oh, you want to cut behind me? I'll dump it off to you. Get your layup. But that's James Harden. I mean, that's how he's made his game. His game has flourished and has gone to new heights under Mike D'Antoni. And that's a great thing for him. He's kind of evolved. He's a better version of Steve Nash under Mike D'Antoni's system. I mean, we remember in the 2000s when Steve Nash was playing under Mike D'Antoni. Steve Nash got that MVP, and his game was going to new heights. And he was playing at the best way that he was at that time in his career. The best times of his career were honestly under Mike D'Antoni. And then Mike D'Antoni is now in Houston, and James Harden, he's playing at the top of his game. You got Russ, once again, same thing, dribble. Russ can't shoot. Russ can't hit no free throws. What does Russ do? Well, he dribbles. He hits the occasional jump shot. He gets a lot of layups and dunks, and he gets to the hole at will at times. But once again, dribble. I think the one person that can make these two guys work is Mike D'Antoni. I don't believe his personality is such that he's going to make these two guys work. Mike D'Antoni, more of a softer guy, more of a guy that is not really one of the in-your-face coaches. His quick offense, 3-point shots, layups, and free throws. That's what he focuses on. Well, you got a guy in Russell Westbrook. His jump shot ain't that hot, bro. His jump shot ain't that hot at all. Yeah, I mean, I like watching him play, because of his motor. I like that high motor, that go get it kind of guy, that guy that will be great on the football field, but he's playing basketball, an extremely athletic guy. Some say the most athletic guy in NBA history. I don't go that far, but I do say he's one of the top most athletic guys I have seen play basketball. Don't say the most, but one of the most athletic guys I have seen play basketball in my lifetime. But Mike D'Antoni, you got a Russell Westbrook, hard-nosed, James Harden flourished under D'Antoni, and you gotta find a guy that's going to be able to mesh these two guys together, wedge them together, break them down, and then put them back together so that their games mesh and gel so they can play well together, play well with others. I don't see him being the guy to do that. Now, earlier I did mention that, previous episode, I did mention that I don't think D'Antoni's the guy for the Rockets. Now they're bringing a guy better than Chris Paul. Yes, that's great. That's perfectly great. Better than Chris Paul now, currently playing. Not as a career. Currently playing now. Yeah, that's perfectly fine. That's great. But, D'Antoni, how do you expect to get Russ to change his game when he's been in the league for so long to play with James Harden? Yeah, Eric Gordon's going to be fine. He's going to get his. PJ Tucker's going to be fine. He's going to get his. Capella's going to be fine. He's going to get his. But how do you say, hey, James, I need you to take a step back? Well, more like 10 steps back so we can implement Russ into the fold, to the chemistry, so that we can win. You're like, man, bro, what are you talking about? I got to take a step back, take 10 steps back. I'm the reason you still got a job. I mean, if my game didn't flourish and if my game wasn't going up and up and up, you probably wouldn't be in the league. Or you wouldn't be coaching this team. Oh, no, I don't want to take 10 steps back. I want to stay right where I am. How about you make that guy? How about you make Russ take 10 steps back? Now, I don't think that's James Harden's personality. I think he's an easy guy to get along with. But you try to tell a guy that's used to having the ball in his hand, and I've heard numerous guys say this. You try to take a guy that has the ball in his hands all the time to say, hey, man, take a back seat. We need you to not. We need you to not have the ball so much. We need to pass it to someone, pass it to the other, to Russ, or pass it to someone else, so our offense can go to new heights. No, man, I ain't doing that. I'm not going to lose what's made my game what it is now to help somebody else. No, man, this is what I am. You brought him here. How about you have him adjust to me, not me adjust to him? I think that's going to be the clash that they find that they're going to run into. That you have James Harden, you got Russ, you got two guys that are used to being alpha dogs, at least on the basketball court. I don't know if they'll be able to mesh well. Now, I think one way that they will, maybe it won't be D'Antoni. They have a LeBron James, Dwayne Wade moment, like they did the first year that those two were together. They couldn't figure out how to play together, play well together, to play to win, to figure things out. It wasn't until I believe it was Dwayne Wade took a back seat and said, "Hey, LeBron, this is your team." Now, Dwayne Wade had already won a championship down there. He was already the man down in Miami. They even called it Wade County. But now he took a back seat to a guy that was a better player than him and said, hey, LeBron, the keys to the team are yours. How about you steer this ship? And the rest is history. Two finals in 4 years, four finals trips every single year they play together. I mean, you can't. It's hard to get much better than that. But man, oh man, I'm looking forward to the Rockets. I'm looking forward to next season. Every time I think I'm going to get away from NBA talk, something else happens in this league. The drama does not stop. These players do not stop what they're talking and want to be moved. And man, it makes my job fun, because if they didn't move, I'd be struggling for finding something to talk about. To kind of piggyback off of the trade, we're not going to really be talking about the Rockets side of things right now. We're going to switch and go back to the Thunder side of things now. And we're not talking about currently constructed with Chris Paul, but what the Thunder have had in the past and didn't get anything done. Now, the Thunder did move, the Sonics moved to Oklahoma City in 2008. Not giving you a history lesson, but it was a big deal for Oklahoma City to get a team. Like I think I may have mentioned this earlier. If I didn't, you're going to hear it now. In Oklahoma, when you think about sports, you thought about the Oklahoma Sooners. That was it. That was all you thought about. Yeah, the Oklahoma State Cowboys, they were there, but outside of them, that was it. The Oklahoma City Sooners, they had their football team. You think Oklahoma, you think a big powerhouse football, not only in high school, but also in college. That's all you think about. That's all that state does is football, football, football. Well, when the Thunder got a team, they got excited. When I say they got excited, they got real excited. They became one of the most loyal fan bases in the league. You saw when they started to make the playoffs that their stands were not only full, but they were one of the rare places that everyone wore the t-shirts that the team gave them on the chairs. Now, you go to a playoff game. Most teams will give you something for free. Some a t-shirt. Here in Indiana, sometimes they give us a rally towel. And it's not like a terrible towel where you're in Pittsburgh and the whole stadium was waving a yellow towel. No, I collected them. I collect that towel. I collect rally towels. One of the weird things that I do collect as a sports fan is rally towels. But no, t-shirts. And they even started the checkered pattern where some had blue, some had white. And their fans were very loyal, very supportive. Very committed to the team. And then not only were they committed, it helped that they got some good players as well. 2007, they drafted Kevin Durant. The Seattle did. And then 2008, they drafted Russell Westbrook. 2009, they drafted James Harden. 2008, they drafted Ibaka, but he did not come over. He wasn't able to play. They come from overseas to play here until 2009. What do you think in the first 2 years, 2 years of the team, they drafted four players? 4 players that got accolades for being the best in the year at some point. Ibaka was a D player of the year. James Harden, the MVP after he left. Russ, the MVP. Kevin Durant, the MVP. So they had all these guys. They had all these players. And what happened to it? Well, they went to 3 Western Conference Finals, and they went to 1 NBA Finals. Won Western Conference Finals, and they lost that NBA Finals they went to. That's pretty bad. I mean, that's sad. That's horrible. Now you say, well, who are the coaches? Who are the coaches? Well, start off with PJ Carlesimo. He's a good guy. A lot of us know him now for TV. Well, he didn't last much longer when he went to Oklahoma City. He got fired. Brought in Billy Donovan from college. First NBA gig. Now, you think you got a college guy coaching young players. It may work, but come NBA players comes egos. They're getting paid more than you. So why should they listen to you? If you don't know what you're talking about, they may have a hard time listening and doing what you say. I just think he wasn't the right man for the job. I think he had a hard time communicating and adjusting to the NBA game, NBA lifestyle. No more recruiting. You're more doing more film study and preparing for more than double the amount of games that you'll play now. Oh, Billy Donovan didn't work. Well, you're bringing Scott Brooks once again, not a guy that is going to be your ideal fit for this dynamic, for this team. Not a coach that's more respected in the league. They missed the playoffs twice. The first year they were in Oklahoma City, and then also in 2014 and 15. Well, aside from that, they also had Oladipo, traded him away. Paul George traded him away. So you mean to tell me we got a team here that has had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 All-Stars and ain't got nowhere? Oh, man, that's not a good sign. That's not a good sign. And now you got Chris Paul. Chris Paul comes here, and Chris Paul's like, well, I look around, and I ain't got nobody. I ain't got nobody to play with. And you think, well, you go back to the history, Chris Paul's thinking, okay, well, they had KD, Russ, James Harden, Ibaka on the same squad. Didn't keep them and didn't win nothing. Okay, well, you got KD, Russ together. Ibaka still. What happened? Nothing. You ain't with nothing. Okay, well, you got Russ and Oladipo. What happened? Nothing. You ain't win nothing. So, okay, so cool. So you get over to Oladipo, and with Oladipo goes to bonus to go to Indiana. So now you got Paul George, one of the top 3-point shooters in the league, a great two-way player in the league. Oh, you got Paul George. What happens? Well, in the second year, Paul George has a MVP year in his own right. MVP candidate to win the MVP, didn't win. But what happens? You ain't win nothing. So you mean to tell me that throughout all of this, throughout all the players that they've had, they ain't win nothing? Oh, that's horrible. I mean, think about it, your job. I'll relate it to my job, that is. A very competitive job where we're competing every single month to beat our coworkers. Now, we all get along. I sell cars for a living. So we all get along. We all get along just fine. Our dealership has been the number one Nissan dealership in the state for, I think, close to, or if not 2 years running. Every single month, we're beating other dealerships around us. Now, if you're in Indiana or Indianapolis, you think of Tom Wood, you think of Ed Martin, dealerships like that. Yep, we beat them every single month in new cars, and it's not even close most of the time. It's bad. It's really, really bad. So think about my boss. He says, well, I'm going to bring in some new blood right now. I'm going to start recruiting. Now, in dealerships, sometimes they do recruit to bring different salesmen in because it is competitive. You want to do better than you did the previous month. So you want to, I'm gonna bring in this guy and this guy and this guy and this guy. And all of a sudden, you got 1, 2, 3. You got 4 guys together that are 4 of the top, or 4. They're young, but they're good. So they're young guys, but they're good. They're good salesmen. They can relate to the younger. They can relate to the older. They can relate to people with good credit. They can relate to people with bad credit or mediocre credit or no credit at all. And they can they can check all the boxes on a salesman or what kind of salesman you want. He's approachable. He's easy to talk to. People can relate to him. He knows how to adapt to every situation that comes his way. Oh yeah, that works very well. Then all of a sudden, well, think about it. He brings in all these good guys, and he trains them up, he grooms them, and they're good at their job, but they don't win. And all of a sudden, they don't win nothing. We don't win anything. And he brings all these guys, and we're not just not winning, we're not winning at all. So instead of being the number one Nissan dealership in the state, we go from, well, we're second, we're third, we're fourth. Oh, we go back to number 2. We go back to number 2, we go back down to 4. That's kind of how it was for Oklahoma City. They had all this talent. And all of a sudden, what do you have to show for it? You got a guy in Chris Paul who you just traded for who doesn't want to be there. How do you get rid of him? Buy his contract out, maybe? I don't think that's a great option. He's owed, I think, $130 million over the next 3 years. Yes, you want to shell out $130 million to get rid of Chris Paul's contract? I think keeping him is more valuable than losing him. Yeah, he's not Carmelo Anthony, where buying him out was better for the team. They could get someone. They could use that same money they're paying him to go to someone else. Yeah, that's not the same thing. But what do you see? What do you think? I don't know about Chris Paul. I would keep Chris Paul, but Chris Paul's looking saying, man, I don't know about this situation. They've had talent, good talent, Olympic talent on this team. Not just for our country, but for another country as well. And what do they have to show for it? They have mediocre coaches coaching top talent, and the GM doesn't know how to bring in a better coach to coach this top talent. And all in all, they ain't got nothing. They have absolutely nothing to show for it. Before we get out of here, I want to do something real quick. A lot of people went crazy when the Lakers announced that they were going to move LeBron James to the point guard position. To me, it's a no-brainer. It's a smart, strategic move. X's and O's wise. What point guard in the league wants to guard a 6'8", 250-pound point guard? We saw how Magic ran the league when he was in the 80s, and he was 6'9", being a point guard, and LeBron, being a more skilled player than that, was going to have a bigger advantage than Magic. Granted, LeBron is older. LeBron's body is not as durable as it once was, but I do see LeBron having a clear advantage being a point guard. But it's not just a point guard. It's the height advantage they're going to have over most teams in the league. I'm going to compare this starting five that I put for the Lakers with a starting five that I put for the Warriors. This is putting that the Warriors are healthy. The Lakers are starting LeBron James, Danny Green, Kyle Kuzma, Anthony Davis, and DeMarcus Cousins. The Warriors are going to start Steph Curry, D'Angelo Russell, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and Willie Cauley-Stein. The Lakers are starting height-wise. It's going height, not weight. 6'8", 6'6", 6'9", 6'10", 6'10". That's point guard to center. The Warriors, on the other hand, are 6'3", 6'5", 6'7", 6'7", and 7 feet tall. The Lakers already have the height advantage over another divisional opponent between 4 of the 5 positions. Now, granted, we know Klay is hurt. McKinney may start that small forward spot. What is he, 6'7", 6'8"? So Kuzma still has the height advantage. So the way I look at it, the way I see it, and a lot of people probably think about this as well, I just haven't heard many people talk about it, really anybody at all. The Lakers are going to have the height advantage. The disadvantage they have is their age. They are older. They are a lot older than you would think they would put than a title contenders are going to be put together first year as a team. But the one thing I do say is their height advantage and their IQ is going to be used to their advantage, because you never know. A lot of these teams are fresh, are being put together, and they're playing together for the first time. Even though the Lakers are, LeBron's playing with more high IQ basketball players than he was last year. So these are more his cup of tea, more kind of guys that he's used to play, that he likes to play with. The disadvantage he has is they don't have many shooters, which is a discussion for a different day. But the height advantage alone, the 6'8", 6'6", 6'9", 6'10", and 6'10", if that is the case, and if that sticks, their height advantage they're going to have and the IQ they have on that squad is going to help them. It's probably going to be their main advantage night in and night out when trying to compete and win every single game that they play. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Jay Stevens Podcast. You can find me on Twitter at Dr_J25. Once again, that is at Dr_JAY, the number 2 and the number 5. You can send all emails to jstevenspod@gmail.com. Once again, that's jstevenspod@gmail.com. Remember to always subscribe, rate, and review. That's a great way for people that are searching for a new podcast to listen to come across this one. And then also remember to get the word out about the podcast via word of mouth. If we like things in life, the things that we like in life, we are more willing and somewhat wired to tell other people about the things that we enjoy. So no matter if this is your first episode or if you've been listening since episode 1, be sure to let people know about the podcast. Also, Anchor, one thing I forgot to mention, Anchor also has a voice message function. Now, it allows you to send voice messages to the podcast that you're listening to that can be utilized on future episodes. Now, you do have to have an Anchor account for that feature to be used, but you make an account, you can send voice messages, and trust me, I will be using them in future episodes. You send stuff to me, I'll use it. That's the kind of guy that I am. Thank you for listening to episode 10 of the Jay Stevens Podcast. I'll see you next time.